Top of the world. No, I'm actually not. Now I'm on top of the world. So we're at the water tower. In a patch of smeared dirt and grass, there was a beat up old wallet. I thought it was mine. Did I take it? Yes. The wallet was missing its contents, including any cards or ID. It was worn, but light. It made carrying the gun around seem more awkward. Where were my driver's license and credit card? From the railing I could see over the woods and down to the entrance to the sewers. Had I come through there before? If I did, someone definitely could have seen me. So let's go down. Oh shit, there was more eyes. 2 doors, there's an eye. Oh god, there's someone's watching me. This must have been the entrance to the forest that was mentioned on the map I had seen. Whoever was poking around in those tunnels underneath that man's house had scribbled notes on this place, but I couldn't make them out. Here the sign pointed out various campsites, walking paths within the woods. It mentioned a river and maybe a washroom, but the rest was too faded to see clearly. Okay. Trampled into the dirt and grass was a plastic card of some kind. I brushed it off and was surprised to see it was my credit card. I wasn't sure if it was still usable, but it was mine. Did I take back my credit card? Yes. I pocketed the credit card. Hopefully I could find my driver's license too. Nothing. Wait, what the hell's going on? There were some personal effects shoved back into the rock. Wait, there was a notebook there too. Did I read it? Yes. Inside the cheap dollar store notebook was page after worn page of names and lists. None of it made much sense. The newest page contained several names. Heather, Olivia, Ashley, Cheryl, Iris, Daphne, Holly, Rose, Rachel. Her name was last on the list and had a mark beside it in blue ink. The names Daphne and Olivia had been crossed out in the same blue ink. Cheryl, Heather, and Rose had also been crossed out, but these marks looked older and more faded. Weird. So I guess these bushes stand for like walking to a 2D pattern. That's right, because I'm finding new things. A few embers still burn within the fire pit. Who was camping here? Was it one of the 2 folding camp chairs was knocked over, and there was beer spilled everywhere? Where did the campers run off to in such a hurry? There was a cheap 2-person dome tent. Though the screen on the front, I could see 2 sleeping bags, backpacks, and a small cooler. So I went through that. Let's try this. What the fuck is this? No, don't look. Couldn't tell, it was really pixelated. The grimy sink had a small patch in it that looked almost clean. Oh, this is bathrooms. A musty wooden plank propped up the stall door. It didn't really seem useful. Did I bother to take it? Yes. I wasn't sure why, but I took the plank. Might come in need. Okay, I went through there. Let's go through here. The sign was the same as the first one I had seen. This must have been the exit to the other side of the woods. I had finally found the exit. Once I left, I knew I never wanted to return there. Though the dense trees, I could finally start to see some light. I must have been at the edge of the forest, though I wasn't sure where the path ahead of me led. I could almost feel the cryptic notebook in my pockets as I tried to think about what it could mean, and where were the campers who had abandoned their site. Would I meet them too? Though the path the path ahead of me was less dense, I still felt guarded and wary. Who knew what was ahead? As I stepped through the gate, I suddenly recognized the auto parts factory where I worked as a machinist for all those years. The plant had closed almost 3 years ago now. Times were better then. I thought I could hear a faint rustling behind me. Maybe it was just the wind. Let's go through the hole in the fence. Oh God. I found the body of a security guard, just doing his job, no doubt. His face was covered with blood from some kind of head wound. I wondered, was this flashlight his? Dug into the ground was a cracked old watch. First my wallet, and now this. Did I retrieve my watch? Yes. The watch was useless, but I put it on my wrist anyways. One of the lockers hung open. Its contents were tossed around like someone had been looking for something. There was a large power box with 5 lights on it. Cables burst out of the box, snaking off to other parts of the factory. The metal was starting to wear, and the cobwebs had collected on the corners. The box wasn't receiving power. The door was locked shut. There was a little electronic box under the handle. A sign was pasted to the front that said, "Danger, closed for repairs." The door was locked tight. It seemed to be connected to the power box beside it. Let's go upstairs. Every part of this plant smelled old, rotted. I noticed the old bulletin board on the wall. The board contained yellowed clippings of newspaper cartoons and notices. There were notes to and from the guys that worked here. One of them was to Norman, who was one of the older guys on the line. Our old break table. The layer of dust and grime only made seeing this sting more. A power panel. Looked like it was shut off. Did I push the switch? Yes. And nothing. The open locker was stuffed with dirty work clothes and old boots. There was a photo of a woman taped to the inside, but it was scratched out and the face was unrecognizable. A power panel. Looked like it was shut off. Did I push the switch? Ooh, that gave some power. It was shut tight. There was a rusty looking card slot on the table, or on the side. So that power is on. Now the power's on. Okay, so it has multiple switches, just like the sewer gates. The door had been hastily boarded up. This was Norman's locker. The door was dented, like someone had punched it. I don't remember him doing that when we worked here. Another panel that I hoped could help me get the power back on. Did I push the switch? A utility shelf crammed with mismatched tools and items. There was a claw hammer on the shelf. Did I take the hammer? No. This whole place reeked of disuse and disrepair. What was I going to do with a hammer? Another panel that I hoped could help me get the power back on. Did I push the switch? Yes. There we go. Another panel. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Yes. That should be all the power switches. I think the power's coming back on. I hear a lot of things moving. Let's go downstairs and see if the breaker is on. Yeah, that's the things. Yeah, it's all on. With the power box working and the door was unlocked. Did I go through? Yes. A rack of flashlights hung on the wall. One of them was missing. The one that the old guy had. So the old guy wasn't here. The smell of dirt and trees washed over me as I escaped the old factory. I thought of the guard I had found. Supine against the fence. He looked like he had been dealt a serious blow, and I hadn't a clue what was coming. But why? Why kill a guard? I had to keep going to find Rachel. I hoped the dirt trail in front of me would lead me closer to town, and I thought to help. How do we turn? Oh, shit. A rusty old truck had careened off the road into the guardrail. Its front was crushed, and its windows had all smashed. Judging by the rust, it had been there for a while. Another door. The garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food and slick black bags. I saw a thin greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged. Did I take it back? Yes. I cleaned the card off as best as I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed to have found my credit card, and now this. I tucked the card into my wallet next to my credit card. Sounded like it was going to start raining again. Better get inside then. I had entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that he ran. It was oddly quiet, except for the faint sound of a television. The entrance to the front of the store was locked from the inside. Looked like I couldn't just pop it open. It needed a key. There was a bit of blood on the keyhole. This doesn't seem strange to you, I guess. And more blood. What was this? It looked like a pull chain hanging from the ceiling. I wondered where it led. Did I pull the chain? Yes. I gave the chain a single tug, and a simple folding ladder to the attic popped down. The TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. Jesus! I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, my co-worker, one of the few friends I had in this town, lay dead beside his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood. It looked like he had been shot trying to get up. His eyes were still wide with shock. Norman, you deserve better than this. Did I close his eyes? No. I think I know what's going on. I think I know what's going on. They're gonna try to frame me for this murder. I have the gun on me, right? I didn't pick up the hammer, so I can't be. It's all. I'm gonna be. What do you call it? I'm gonna be. I guess this was Norman's kitchen table. He kept it clean enough, but there were water rings from 2 cups still there in the wood. The kitchen trash bin smelled fresh. I didn't dig through that mess, did I? Yeah, sure. I found a hairpin amongst the rotting food and trash and pocketed it. I'm gonna get framed for all of this, because I've picked up some of the stuff, and someone's gonna find me, and it's gonna be me that I did it. That's probably how it's gonna turn out. A weathered sleeping bag and a small camping stove. The bag smelled musty. I wasn't sure if it was because being in the attic or it had been used recently. There was a large cardboard box that hadn't been sealed. Did I open it? Yes. That's it? I can't do nothing with it? Nothing to see here. Okay. Inside the cabinet was a small but impressive collection of hunting rifles, shotguns, and even a few items I didn't think were legal here. One of the slots on the rack was empty. The gun I had found seemed to match the others there. If the handguns was Norman's, what the hell was he doing with it? The gun would fit there. Did I place it back on the cabinet? Yes. Get it off of me, because I don't want to be framed. So I go down backstairs, because there's nothing to do. I used the hairpin to pick the lock. The hairpin snapped in half, so I threw it away. Okay, good thing I did that. The general store was small, but it was clean. It had the usual things: postcards, snacks, magazines, and canned goods. I never went there much. Rachel usually stopped by after work if we needed anything. The register was mostly empty, and a flat stack of travel magazines set beside it. The icebox seemed to be unplugged. It must have been off for a while. Most of its contents were half melted. There were various postcards from the area, especially from the tourist traps. One of the postcards showed an old black and white photo of the water tower. It looked to be in much better shape then. It'd been weeks since I had seen Norman, and finding him that way still left me cold. Thinking of him slumped against that chair only cemented my reassurance in getting rid of that gun. It looked like someone had taken the piece from his store, but why was it in those tunnels? As I stepped outside, I recalled that dusty old box of clothes in Norman's attic. I felt like I had only discovered more questions, no answers, but I was close to home. It was time to find out the truth. It was locked. This wasn't the right gate. The gate was locked tight. This wasn't my house. Here we go. The gate was locked tight. This wasn't my house. The neighborhood's local post box. A letter was sticking out of it as if someone hadn't pushed it all the way in. I knew it wasn't right, but did I look at the letter? Yes. The envelope was addressed to Norman. There was no return address, but the handwriting looked familiar. I took a deep breath and tore open the package. The letter read, Norman, I'm sending this to you in a letter because I'm afraid to tell you this in person. What we did, well, it was wrong. My husband isn't an easy man to be with.